I I was watching. I was watching. How could I not? It was the first match of India in this World Cup, and they had a great start. They bowled out the mighty Australian batting order for 199 runs. That was an achievement, I think, for the bowlers. If they get such wickets, spin-friendly wickets, these three bowlers, Jadeja, Ashwin, and
Good evening, sir.
hello, good evening, Faizan. Even if you put Chahal to it, suppose you remove Ashwin and bring Chahal, even deadlier, I will say.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, Rakhi. Hello, Sahil.
Hello, sir.
So, guys, I have been thinking that I want to play. I want to play. No, I want to play. Radio program, BBC interview with the Prime Minister, Pakistani Prime Minister. His interview. No, Imran Khan is in jail. He's no longer the Prime Minister there. The temporary Prime Minister, the stand-in Prime Minister, we can call him. Okay. Okay. So I want to play this to prove that point again, to convince you guys further that how listening can help you grow and use expressions that you have never heard. Listening is the only way you can do it. I've been thinking, but I've been so busy that I couldn't really remember to do it. I think today is a good day. It's a Monday today.
Yes.
So fine, start the new week with this idea, okay? For that, I'll have to start all over. I'll have to go live. I'll have to go live on YouTube, okay? And there you guys will join. I'll share a link. You guys can all join, okay? Let's see.
Okay, sir.
First of all, Nikhil has a question. Nikhil, what was your question?
Yes, sir. Actually, I was reading that and I did not understand that properly. 1 minute, let me read that for you. What I did not get.
Which
Sir.
part was different?
Yeah. So, like, I did not understand meaning from here. Like, I encourage you to pause or avoid physical triggers of negative thoughts and feelings, like sweatshirt your
Send it,
ex gave you.
send it to me again, please. I can't find it here.
It is in your WhatsApp, personal WhatsApp.
No, I can't see it on my computer. That's a big
Okay,
problem,
okay. You want to see it on your computer then? Okay, I'm sending, just a second. Okay, let me check. You deleted, sir.
No. Somehow all the messages don't show on the laptop, on the computer. I have it on my mobile.
Okay, just a second. I am also thinking how to share it is in WhatsApp. Then
You sent it to me on WhatsApp, didn't you?
yeah, I have that in WhatsApp. Okay, can I send you again in WhatsApp?
That's all I'm asking you to do.
Okay, I thought like you asked me to send on Instagram. Sorry, Instagram, Telegram. Yeah.
What's going on? Everybody, take a look at this. I encourage you to purge. A new word for you guys. To purge or avoid. So forget the word purge. Understand the word avoid. Because it says or avoid, it means it's very similar. Okay, I encourage you to avoid physical triggers of negative thoughts and feelings. What is the trigger? Trigger is that thing in the gun that you press and the action takes place. The bullet is fired, the gun fires when you press the trigger. So in life, those events or those things which make you experience something, they're called triggers. Okay. So physical triggers of negative thoughts. So negative thoughts come when you see your best friend. Do you have negative thoughts? No. But when you see a friend who cheated on you, okay, who was disloyal or something, when you see their face, suddenly you get all the negative thoughts. So seeing that friend is a trigger. Seeing that friend is a trigger. Okay. I encourage you to avoid physical triggers. Okay, physical triggers, those things which have a physical existence, physical, okay, triggers of negative thoughts and feelings, like that sweatshirt your ex gave you. Now, your ex gave you a sweatshirt. Sweatshirt is a shirt, okay, that you wear. Sweatshirt, you can buy sweatshirts. I can show you what sweatshirts look like, okay? So your ex gifted you a sweatshirt, right? So every time you see that sweatshirt, you will think of I encourage you to avoid physical triggers of negative thoughts and feelings, like that sweatshirt your ex gave you, or the coffee shop where you always run into a friend. Don't go to that coffee shop where you always run into a former friend. Run into means, you understand? Accidentally run into. So don't go
Okay,
to
sir.
those places.
That
Don't
was
have that.
my issue, sir. Run into a former friend, that I was not understanding. Run into means accidentally meeting someone.
Why? Do you think you can run into somebody? Literally.
No, I was thinking like what it means run into a former friend.
Why didn't you look? Asking a pertinent question is very important. You should have highlighted. I told you underline, because when you underline, then I can put my energy only on that part. That okay, this is the part that you run into. Run into means to literally run into as well. Imagine that you're running in a mall, okay, trying to look for your mom or your sister, and you run into somebody and you look at their face and you say, wow, you here? You literally and figuratively ran into him, both. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Did you understand that? You literally ran into him.
Okay, okay.
And you met him as well, right? Okay.
So former, sir, run into a former friend is a good thing, right?
If you don't want to meet that former friend,
Okay.
then
Mm-hmm.
look, Nikhil, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
discuss the topic. That will
Mm-hmm.
be a different thing. Okay. I will explain the English to you, but I will leave the rest for you. Okay. To understand, I will explain what the
Okay.
meaning here
Mm-hmm.
is. The sweatshirt that your ex gave you, avoid that. Avoid all the physical triggers, or that coffee shop where you always run into a former friend. Avoid those places. If you don't let go physically, you won't let go emotionally. The message is very clear. If you don't let go physically, you will not let go
You
emotionally.
want emotionally, yes.
If you want to let go, you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, let go. Let go. Let go. Okay. Yes. So you had a girlfriend. Now you've broken up with her, but you're still thinking about her. So she's not there around you, but you're still hung on her. All right. So you need to let go. Free yourself. Let go.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Got it.
First, you have to purge. Do you want to know what this word means? Purge.
To
Purge means to
remove someone
purify.
who don't like you.
To purify. First meaning is to purify. To purge means to purify. Second, to remove something is purge. Okay, you can purge your wardrobe of your old clothes. You can purge your wardrobe of your old clothes. You remove all your old clothes, okay, from your wardrobe. So how do you use, what's the pattern? Verb pattern? What is the verb pattern? You purge your wardrobe of your old clothes, okay? You purge your heart of all ill will. You purge your heart of all negative thoughts. That's what Sadhu Sant, Sant try to teach you. That purge your heart of all negative feelings. Just like in a wardrobe, you purge the wardrobe of the old clothes, then you get remove them. Similarly, purge your heart of negative feelings. Okay. There are some other uses as well of the word purge in different contexts, but when you come across the word, you learn. If I teach you words like this, very few people will have that kind of memory to remember what I'm teaching. Otherwise, most of you will right now feel I understood. You understood, I mean, but you would forget them. In 1 week, 2 weeks, you'll forget them. Your mind is very sharp, I mean, sharp, I should say intelligent. You know what your mind does? It only keeps the information it finds useful. So the information that you're not using, your mind deletes those files to keep the burden low. That's it. Okay. This is how it works. So any information, any that is of no use, you're not using that information. Slowly and slowly, your mind will delete those files. It's natural. There is no complaint about it. One should not complain about forgetting things. You forget those things that you do not need. Why don't you forget your name? Why don't you forget your friend's name? Because you need them all the time. So if anybody feels that they forget English, they should ask themselves, do they need English in the first place? And if they do, how much space English occupies in their lives? And if English has a good space in their life, they will not forget English vocabulary easily. But if you are somebody who does not really need English, English doesn't play any role in your life, you don't listen to the English commentary, you don't watch English songs, you don't listen to English programs or watch English programs, why would you need English? So words will automatically get deleted slowly and slowly. Simple. Okay. So we have lots of people in the class today.
Sir,
And
ask him which book he is reading.
which book is it from?
Yeah,
Which book is it from, Nikhil?
It is Think Like a Monk, sir.
oh, I think
It
it's
is not
Jay
monk.
Shetty's book.
Hello. It is not pronounced monk. It is pronounced monk.
He's like a monk. It's written by Jay Shetty.
क्या?
Mukarram.
हाँ, Jay
Think like a monk.
Shetty.
Yeah, books. Jay
Monk.
Shetty's books,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. Think
Yeah,
like a
Think
monk.
like a monk. 8 Rules of
Monk.
Love.
Jay
There is
Shetty. Yes.
another
Yes.
book. Yeah, there is another book of this writer, Jay Shetty. 8 Rules of Love.
Yeah, I like that guy. But
Yeah,
again, I don't
I listen his podcast and watch lots of video, and I follow him on Instagram. The way he
personally,
speaks is fantastic.
yeah, I like the way he speaks, that's all. But otherwise, I know that these Bolwachan people, they don't really help much.
But they help in
I
English,
think
sir.
Sandeep Maheshwari type of people are overrated, they don't have much role in life. People enjoy listening to them because they have a style, they have a persona. Like Shah Rukh Khan, you see, every role he does, you like Shah Rukh Khan there. Shah Rukh Khan is doing it, right? You like Shah Rukh Khan's style. That is what has kept him young for such a long time, because we just like his personality. Now, if somebody has their persona, but they're not interested in acting, they're interested in talking, then they will show their personality, you will dig their personality, you will like their personality, and you'll become a fan. You'll say, oh, what he says makes a difference, this and that. The reality is, nobody's words make a difference like that, unless they are in your own circle. I don't think listening to somebody on the internet can have a big impact on your life, can make a big impact on your life. I don't agree with that. So I don't, what are they called? Motivational speakers, right? So motivational speakers are overrated in my opinion. There was a time I used to give a lot of lectures as well. And then I realized that there are some people who like your personality, they listen to you. Now, the more captivating personality you have, the bigger number of people you will impress and influence. But basically, it's not going to make any difference in their life what you say. Some of them may really take you very seriously. Very few people. Most of them will listen to you, appreciate what you say in that moment, forget it. Their life experiences are different from yours. Everybody thinks according to the experiences they have, not according to the motivational speaker they listen to. Your experiences shape the way you think. Confidence, lack of confidence, security, insecurity, all these things. Everybody says these are bad things, insecurity and all. But how can you dismiss the experiences you've had? How do you do that? You have to be strong on your own. And that comes from self-realization. No motivational speaker actually makes a big difference. I personally don't waste my time listening to them. If I listen to somebody, I listen to them mainly for their language, not for their thoughts. If I listen to some people for their thoughts, then they have to be somebody like Osho. My goodness, that guy is simply, controversial, to say the least. He was very controversial. If somebody is saying something that nobody is angry about, they're not worth listening to. Simple. Osho? You need to Google Osho. He is not somebody I can, explain in one word. He is no longer alive. He was a cult guru, if you do not say in a nice way, but actually he was a thinker, a philosopher. His philosophy will convince a lot of sensible people. If he had not been targeted, okay, I don't know the accusations on him, how right they were, how much role he played in those controversies, because there were so many controversies, okay? In America, the American president was afraid of him, of what he was doing, He was changing people from Christianity into his own belief system. He didn't propagate any religion like Buddha and all. He just said that there is no God, don't think about it, okay? His ideas were very controversial. And I believe that anybody who says something that is very nice to hear, and it does not make people angry, some people angry, that person is not worth listening to. Because this world has so many problems. There are so many things which are not right. And if you're saying something that everybody likes hearing, it means you are saying something that pleases those people as well who are doing all the bad things. Okay, so it means you're complicit. You're not worth listening to. When you say something that makes some people angry, maybe you should, we should listen to you. People should listen to you. As simple as that. Osho made a lot of people angry with his comments. Some people believe that he is the greatest thinker of the 20th century. Greatest thinker of the 20th century. Okay, coming back to this, I wanted to play an interview, and you guys say what we're listening to? This is what listening can do for you guys. Give me a second. Let me play it for you. Read a lot. Read a lot. Spend as much time as you can reading. Reading is the best thing you will ever do to improve your personality. Listening is improving your speaking, but for your thought, for your personality, read variety of things. Outside the syllabus books. Okay, hard talk. Are you ready, guys? I want to do that.
Sir, you told you will go on live.
Or maybe the problem is if I play it, the other day I played something on YouTube here, and I put it on YouTube, and YouTube got angry. They sent me a notice that I had to mute that part. Oh, come on. Why did I click this? Where is that person? Where are the other episodes? All the episodes, yes. Okay, let's see. I will put it in a small window, and maybe I will not show this. Let's see. Only the audio. You guys will only get to hear the audio, okay? And how will that happen? Because I need to share screen. So whiteboard I will share. Okay, everybody. I hope the experiment is successful. Let's see.
Welcome to Hard Talk with me, Zainab Badawi from the BBC World Service. My guest is Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister Anwar ul Haq Khakkar, who's on a visit here in London. In August, he was put in charge of the Pakistani government until elections are held in the new year. This comes at a time of extreme political turmoil, huge
Did you hear the phrase, this comes at a time when? Did you hear the phrase, this comes at a time when?
The BBC World Service. My guest is Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister Anwar ul Haq Khakkar, who's on a visit here in London. In August, he was put in charge of the Pakistani government until elections are held in the new year. This comes at a time of extreme.
This comes at a time when extreme comes at a time. This comes at a time when, okay? Now, I want to understand from you that you know the word at, you know the word a, you know the word time. When did you use this phrase this way? This comes at a time when, ऐसे समय में जब. This is the Hindi, obviously. And what? How do we say this in English? This comes at a time when extreme and whatever we'll carry on. If you never listen to this expression, and if you listen to this expression 5 times, what will be the difference between two guys? One who has never heard this phrase and one who has heard this phrase 5 times. The one who has heard this phrase 5 times will start using this phrase at a time when, at a ऐसे दौर में जब नफरत इतना ज्यादा बढ़ा हुआ है, प्यार मोहब्बत की बात करना बेवकूफी है. At a time when hatred is so common, so rampant, talking of love is, I don't think, a very smart idea. Okay, chalo baki words होते हैं. At a time when, how many times have you used this phrase? Do you think I heard it and I started using it? No. So
No.
this is what makes listening, what kind of impact listening can have. You guys always think that you know the words. You know the words. That's your problem. You have no idea how little you know about the words you know. I'm not talking about unfamiliar words. I'm talking about the words that you already know. You know very little about the words you are familiar with. At a time when, ऐसे समय में जब, this is the Hindi. ऐसे समय में जब, at a time when. हाँ हाँ. When India was in a real trouble. India was in a real trouble. Yes. Yes, Lalla. Chandan Computer? Chandan Computers? हेलो, आवाज आ रही मेरी? हेलो लल्ला, मेरी आवाज आ रही है? कॉल बैक करो. यस, व्हाट वर यू सेइंग? मैं सिर्फ ये बताना चाह रहा हूं आप लोग को कि कैसे आप लोग उस दिन ये सोच नहीं मान पा रहे थे. सिंपल सी बात, दैट गिव मी अ सेकंड. हेलो, हाँ, कौन सी दुकान है? वहां पर मुन्ना जी बैठे हैं? हाँ, बात कराइए. हाँ मुन्ना जी, जरा देख लीजिएगा ना, बच्चा अपना स्टूडेंट, उसका कंप्यूटर खराब है, देख लीजिएगा, ठीक है? हम्म. लल्ला वो देख लेंगे, ठीक है? ओके. So where were we? Yeah. So listening, just one phrase in the very beginning. Now listen
Political
more.
turmoil, huge economic.
When the country is going through extreme political turmoil, extreme political turmoil. Ab batao, if you don't listen, is the word turmoil gonna enter your brain on its own like magic? No. And when you listen to conversations, then what happens? That the phrases do not come in isolation, they come in sentences. Extreme political turmoil, a situation when things are not okay. Sometimes things are very up, very down, turmoil, okay? Political turmoil, economic turmoil, okay? Very common, social turmoil, okay? The turmoil is a bad situation. It's something that is lack of order, lack of, structure. That is called turmoil. Yes, dear.
I said, could you write the phrase TERMOIL?
TURMOIL, turmoil.
Okay. Okay.
Economic challenges and growing insecurity. Can he steer Pakistan through its current difficulties, and can he stand up to the
Can he steer Pakistan? Can he steer Pakistan? Now, how do you think that the word steer will enter your mind? You're familiar with the word steer. Steering wheel. What does the steering wheel do for you? The steering wheel gives you the freedom to steer the vehicle in whatever direction you want. So country is like a car, and he is steering the country through this challenging times, okay?
power of the military? Anwar ul Haq Kakkar, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you.
So, do you have what it takes to steer Pakistan?
Do you have what it takes?
What it takes to stay.
Now, is there any unfamiliar word at all? Do you have what it takes? How are you going to learn these things? By speaking. And you think one can talk without having this kind of basic vocabulary? I told you, the problem with you is you guys have just gone a little bit inside the river or the ocean, and you're saying, wow, like this. There is plenty to learn, and learning takes place when you're reading and listening. So please don't worry about how well you're speaking. Don't become overconfident about it, and don't feel bad about how badly you're speaking. Keep growing your knowledge. The problem is we do not know a lot of things because we are adult learners of English. We have just started our journey of English. So anybody who's feeling overconfident of their skills because of the lessons here, sorry, dear, you are behaving just like the proverbial Musahar jo lavni bhardhan mein uplaye. And I am not, using any swear words against any caste. It's just a proverb that I wanted to use here because it's absolutely right. Lavni vardhan mein musar uplaye. There are some people, I'm not talking about musar jat does that. It is about nature of people. Some people, they become a little successful and they become overconfident. That's not wrong, yaar. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. So first of all, for those of my students, because some of my students show that tendency as well, okay, because they are around sippers, a figure among sippers. So they start to have that feeling. Come on, there is plenty to learn. Tell me, did you know this phrase? Do you have what it takes? Such a common phrase in English. Do you have what it takes? Do you have what it takes to be number one in the world? I think I have what it takes to be a good teacher, but sometimes I think I have what it takes to be a good teacher. Means I think I have the qualities. It means the qualities, now. Do you have what it takes means, do you have the qualities? Okay. Simple words. Do you have the qualities? Do you have what it takes?
Through these really tough times.
Well, definitely, we are committed.
Through these tough times, if you hear these phrases, through these tough times, if you hear these phrases, your mind will start to understand. When you listen and learn, the problem is you guys listen but don't learn. That's the problem. This is why you guys don't want to listen, because listening is a passive activity. You should not make you burden. But why do you get bored? Because you listen, but it does not benefit you, because you don't have the sharp observation that you can notice. Oh, through these tough times, okay, like through the jungle, through the woods, through the river, through the mountains, and now through these tough times. So okay, all right, interesting. So observation makes you, enjoy these things. When you observe, when you learn. If I learn nothing, if I listen, but I learn nothing, I will not find interest to listen to it again, the motivation to listen to it again. But if I learn something, then I'll listen again to learn something more.
To steer Pakistan out of this challenging and difficult times. And for
We are committed to steer Pakistan out of this. Steer Pakistan out of this trouble, out of this difficult time.
that, the laws of the country are there to guide us, help us, and enable us to do the right thing. And that's what we're going to do.
Doing the right thing, a priority for you is to ensure that the elections in January for the National Assembly are free and fair. How confident are you that they will be?
I'm pretty much
If you hear this expression, the elections are free and fair elections, free and fair elections, then will it take any effort for you to say this, free and fair elections? The thing is, you just don't want to have an ability to talk in English. You want to have ability to discuss things in English. That's a different thing. You need to have wide range of vocabulary to touch and discuss so many different topics. Yes, Suman. Yes, Suman. बेटा मैं बात करता हूँ आपसे 7:30 बजे. ओके ओके बेटा.
much confident that they're going to be free and fair, whatever the objective tests are by any international observer or.
I hope my online students are all using their headphones right now. If you're not, please get your headphones as soon as you can.
International media or domestic observers, those indicators which does determine any sort of transparent and independent elections in that region. I'm pretty much confident that we're going to acquire and achieve that.
But look, I have to put it to you that you've got the very popular opposition politician of the PTI, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party, Imran Khan, in prison on corruption charges that he denies. You've also got the expected return in October of another
corruption charges that he denies. The opposition leader is in jail, in prison on corruption charges that he denies. So if you listen to this expression a couple of times, the charges he denies, then you will remember that, okay, you hear the charges he denies. If you're listening to these things every now and then these things will stay with you. And then you won't have to learn from a teacher the difference between refuse and deny. And you will not confuse the two words. You will learn that people deny charges. Means they say, no, I've not done it. No, I have not done it. Deny charges. And then someday you will say that he refused the invitation. He said, I won't come. right? Because when you hear the phrase, he refused the invitation, then you will have a picture that how he refused the invitation. He said, I'm sorry, I won't come, right? So he refused the invitation. So slowly and slowly, couple of times, 3-4 times, you hear deny. A couple of times, 3-4 times, you hear refuse, and your mind will figure out the difference. The problem is either you observe zero or very little, if at all, or you just don't listen. So observation doesn't come in the picture when you're not listening. First, you have to listen to check how much you observe. But you guys spend your whole day doing everything except listening. The most important thing that will help you grow your English. And you won't do it. Again, I'm not asking you to listen to this. I'm asking you to listen to something that is easy enough for you. That 1 or 2 phrases here and there will come and you'll understand them. And that is how you will improve your speaking skills.
A very popular politician, Nawaz Sharif, 3 times Premier in the past. And now there is the possibility also that corruption charges might be brought against his younger brother, Shahbaz Sharif, who until you became caretaker Prime Minister was Prime Minister of Pakistan. That means that you have these 3 principal politicians who may be barred, or in Imran Khan's case is definitely barred from running for election.
Well, if any of these individuals, they are barred from the elections, that would not be out of the executive.
They are barred from the elections. They are barred from elections. 2-3 times they have used this phrase, barred from the elections, barred from the elections. Okay. And, you know, Imran Khan is barred from the elections. It means Imran Khan will not be able to participate. So maybe you won't understand when you're listening to it on your own, but I will say, don't start with something that difficult. Okay. But if something comes up that you do not familiar with, you have internet today. Go on Google. If it is really bothering you, you know, that you must know what it is, then just Google it. In bigger screen, so you could swap your videos. How do I do that?
So just remove your blank.
Move.
I'm seeing your white blank board.
Yeah, I know. I have done it for a purpose. Actually,
Okay, sir. Then it is okay, sir. I thought
start focus.
it will make impressions around you. If video.
Okay, does it look different? Any different now? Because I have slid the screen to the side, but I don't think it will make any difference. I have moved the screen to the side, but I think you will get to see the same thing.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, if you are doing it purpose, then it's okay, sir.
That's I thought that I wanted to do it on YouTube directly without using Zoom, like I do my 9:30 class, live class. I wanted to do it that way. But I will not be able to accommodate all of you 10 people with me on stage. You know, you guys will be there just listening to me. I won't be able to have you speaking with me, you know, on the stage. That's the problem. I can have maybe 4 people or 6 people with me at best on stage. Those who can talk to me as well. Like Mukarram is talking to me right now. I can have 6 people at best, I think, on stage with me on YouTube. StreamYard thing. Okay, are you guys realizing how listening can be useful? That is the whole purpose. The purpose is to just help you realize that if you're listening, then we will come across so many words and phrases that otherwise will take years to learn. But you just keep listening and you will become familiar with those words.
Decision of the caretaker government. That can be a possible judicial outcome for any of these individuals, of which I am not privy to, whether we are heading towards that direction or not.
But we know
I'm not privy to. Such phrases are so common when it comes to not everyday English. When you are talking about everyday English, people having conversation with each other, you will never hear the word privy so often. Maybe once in a while, somebody who likes using such words in their everyday conversation as well. Mostly people will not use such words, but when you listen to this kind of discussion, privy becomes such a common word. I'm not privy to this information, means I don't know this. Whether the government has decided, suppose a politician is speaking, okay, and he's saying, I'm not sure what the government is going to do about this matter. I am not privy to this information. I'm not privy to this information, means I don't have this information. How simple. But they will say, I'm not privy to this information. Because you can't force them to speak at your level, because your vocabulary is poor. They should not use those words. So listen to them and grow.
Imran Khan has been given a 5-year ban from holding public office. We know that Nawaz Sharif in 2017, when he was found guilty of corruption charges that he denies, was given a life.
Did you hear the same phrase again? The corruption charges that he denies. In one program, you heard the same phrase 2-3 times. Okay, clearly 5 times, 6 times is more than enough to remember that there is a phrase. So someday on what is that thing called? In exams, they have closed test. Okay, and in closed test, they can give you the corruption charges that he 5 options. One option refuses, one option denies, one option says no, and things like this. You have to choose denies, because corruption charges that he denies. If you do not have the exposure, you have very limited knowledge. The more your exposure, the more your knowledge is. And you guys always say, to be better, I will not listen, I will not read, I'll talk. How will talking improve your speaking? Talking will just give your ego a boost that you're speaking English. That's all it does. For somebody who comes from this kind of background, speaking English is such a big deal. When we speak English, we feel very proud that I did it, type of a feeling comes, I did it. Because all your life you thought it was not possible. So you want to take extra, joy in that achievement. Fair enough, but please keep the work going. Enjoy, take pride as much as you want, but keep the, improvement on as well. I also take a lot of pride in the way I teach English, speak English and everything. But I don't say that I've learned in everything. I keep learning, keep growing.
Time ban from running for office. So we know that these 2 very popular politicians are not going to be able to stand in these elections.
I agree.
It's a problem.
I agree. If it is a problem, we need to do legislation in the parliament if someone does.
Not only in this audio, so many easy programs, easy English programs, you will hear lines like, I agree, I agree. So what do you say to those people who say, I am agree, I am agree? What do you say to them? They don't pay attention, that they hear I agree all the time, and they start saying I am agree and make themselves look stupid. Indians need to speak good English. Not only they need to speak English. If you are from Japan, if you're from China, you speak English, it's fine, because English is not an official language in your country. You don't have to write an exam in English. Okay, here, you have to write correct English, because there are exams in English. So you can't afford to write or say, I am agree.
Does not agree that there should be such judicial outcomes. I, as a caretaker government, cannot undo such judicial outcomes, though I might agree with those positions or disagree with those positions. What I am referring to over here is that if such a situation occurs, because even in the fate of Mr. Imran Khan is not even final, there are judicial remedies available to him. The appellate courts are there. So if once it's realized and all the options are utilized judicially, then yes,
so he could. Imran
there
Khan
is a possibility that he may be legally barred from that process, which is beyond the control of the caretaker government.
Well, you say that, but let me tell you what Fatima Haydar from the Imran Khan's PTI party says. She says no level playing field exists for the PTI. The caretaker government,
No level playing field exists for the PTI. No level field exists.
Hmm.
Level playing field. Level playing field. Okay, when two teams are contesting fairly, when the ground where they're playing is level, imagine if one side is tilted, the other side is high or something like that, then will you call it the teams are playing, fairly, they're contesting fairly? There will be undue advantage to some people, right? So level playing field means a situation where everybody has a fair chance to show their talent, their ability. Level playing field. How is there a new word there? Level playing field. Tell me, are these familiar words or not? How do you learn these phrases? You will never, because you don't want to listen to English. You don't want to read in English. Level is in your mind. Play is in your mind. Field is in your mind. But level playing field is not in your mind together because you have not heard this phrase. You hear this phrase. You said that you read in your class 12th or 10th, the phrase muster courage. Okay. So I said this and you're reminded of it. So people who listen to the same thing 2, 3, 4, 5 times, they're reminded later, every time that word or phrase comes up, they're reminded that they've read it and they try to understand because they're human beings. You will be able to think about it. Only very few students are not able to think that much. They need somebody to tell them every time. Okay. So I'll say just listening is the best exercise you will do to improve your understanding and your speaking skills.
That's you, is talking about accountability and other long-term plans instead of making arrangements for fair polls.
I still remember there was a time when I couldn't understand words like accountability. Abstract nouns are so difficult for young people, young learners, because we do not have a system. I am trying to compensate for that by my 9:30 batch in the morning. Okay, and it is something I've not done before, what I'm teaching there, those things, but I know how important those things are. Knowing those things is going to be. So,
She
let's
said
listen more. I
making
forgot what I was
arrangements for
saying.
fair polls is something that you should be held accountable for. You are responsible for.
That's exactly what we are doing. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf as a political party is not barred to participate
No, but
in the
Imran
political
Khan,
process.
as things stand, the leader of the PTI party, cannot stand.
If an individual is charged with riots, vandalism, putting arson to different buildings and institutions,
I grew up all my life hearing the word rights, 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 right ho gaya, right ho gaya, right ho gaya. I learned it much later that it is not right, it is riot. Riot, not rights. And how did I learn it is not right? By listening. If I hadn't listened to the word riot, I wouldn't know that it should not be pronounced right. It should be pronounced riot. How would I know? So how do you guys think you'll speak better English by speaking? You will speak what you know only. Some people say that they still make the same silly mistake, that they are aware of that those things are not right, but they happen to say the wrong thing. Again, why ask? Why not an Englishman? Why not somebody who has grown up listening to English? Why don't they make the same mistakes? Because they have had more exposure for longer periods of time, and we are lacking that. So the only solution to all your problems is by being with English, staying in touch with English, not by speaking only. Speaking is fine, even if you do it for 10% of your all time. You spend 1 hour in the entire day learning English. 6 minutes if you speak, that will take care of your 60 minutes of learning. But you will spend 50 minutes speaking and 10 minutes listening, then what are you doing? You're not improving yourself. That's why you guys are so slow to learn. I will bring students here from other countries who were like you guys, those who couldn't speak English, but their methods were so different, the way they learned, and they made fast improvement. Within 2-3 years, they are speaking fluent English now. Because in those 2-3 years, they spent a lot of time exposing themselves to English so that they could observe what they were listening to, they were reading. How do you? I keep you out of water and you get wet. How is that possible? By I sprinkle a little bit water on you, you become that wet. No. So in order to become very wet, you need to be in water. So similarly, if you want to make more observations, you need to be surrounded by that language. That's what people call environment. You will never have environment in Bihar Sharif, in the streets of Bihar Sharif. So you create the environment artificially this way. Listen. I hope BBC, YouTube does not ban this, video, upload. I don't know, because I'm talking so much, but maybe, I don't know, they might. Haven't read their policy, how they decide about these things. Kapil Sharma's show, when it is on YouTube, you will not hear the songs they play on the show, when it is the song, they're dancing, but it will be mute, or some other kind of music will play, but not the song, because YouTube doesn't allow you to play music or audio which is somebody else's, intellectual property or artistic property.
Investigating people for violence, and if there are laws of the land to counter and curtail that behavior lawfully through courts. How on earth, I'm surprised.
How will you know curtail the behavior means what? How will you know? If you never hear the phrase, you know the word behavior, but you haven't heard the word curtail. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are hearing the word for the first time. It is an unfamiliar word. Okay, fair enough when it is an unfamiliar word, but you learned so many things about those words that you already knew. Level playing field. You always go after unfamiliar words and just try and increase your own stress by doing so. Just first of all, become familiar with the uses of those common words that you know. Tell me, level playing field, an idea. In India, for a long time, all Indians didn't have a level playing field. For most of our history, certain people had the monopoly over jobs or education and the wealth and the economy. And the majority of the Indians were kept out of that system. There was no level playing field. I'm gonna make a comment in support of reservation. Why was reservation needed in the first place? Because there wasn't a level playing field. So you couldn't have asked those people to compete with each other that way. By giving reservation, you try to create a level playing field. But unfortunately, because of the incompetence of our political leaders, that idea of reservation is backfiring somehow. I know India is suffering because of reservation, but reservation is needed in a new form, in a different form, in a more effective way.
That I'm being set responsible, that we have encouraged such an outcome to
You heard this phrase, how on earth, because you have heard that phrase maybe at the elementary level. Where on earth are you? How on earth am I responsible? How on earth am I, guilty like this? So you might have studied that phrase on earth. So when you have come across something and you hear it again, of course it sounds better and you grow. So are you not convinced yet that you guys need to spend a lot of your time? When you say you're learning English, basically you should be reading and listening to English. That's all. And while you're reading in English, you try your best to understand what you're reading with the help of the phrases, the grammar and everything. Like Nikhil brought that problem to me when he couldn't understand. You guys bring your problems to me when you don't understand. Start with the course books first, the course audio file that I give. A lot of students will read the chapters when I teach here and will never look back at that text ever again. How are you going to make the best of that exercise, that text that we put in our course? So promise to yourself that once the teacher has finished a text here, I'm going to read that text, because that's real learning. Learning means input when there is a source. when there is a source from where we are getting something, right? So the text in English, you read and you learn what's written there, how the words have been arranged, what they mean, what grammar rules have been taken care of. Learn all these things. I saw a post on Facebook today in one of those teachers groups. An enthusiastic teacher was looking for some help. He has an adult female student who has a full-time job, but she's trying to learn English. So the teacher wants to make the exercise more fun for her. So he was saying, how do I teach conditional in a more fun, interactive way? I don't want to make it boring for her. So people gave her their own advice, whatever they thought of. I'm just saying, why did I bring it up to you guys? Yes, that teacher was the way he was talking, that I have explained this conditional, I have explained this conditional, now I'm going to talk about this conditional. So how will the students there outside learn and appreciate these things? Because they learn it in context. And I'm telling you, most students will message me and tell you, conditional sentences why are they difficult for you? You say that there are no teachers? No, that's not right. There are plenty of good teachers on YouTube. The problem is you guys don't observe what you're reading. You are so used to being spoon-fed that you don't apply in your mind to learn. And this is the reason you find it absolutely discomforting when somebody says, read, learn, listen, and learn. You say, how? Why listen, but how do I learn? That's the question. You guys get lost in a way. You read, but you don't really learn when you read. You don't observe anything at all. And I'm serious when I'm saying this, not being rather critical of you, just stating the fact. If I give a text to you and I say, what things you have learned, you have observed on your own, you guys will not be able to say much. I'm talking from language point of view. That if I give you a text and I said, after reading the text, what language points have you learned? Not the facts. What language points have you learned? That in English, we do this. In English, we do that. How many language points can you derive from that text? That depends on the way you observe. And maybe these are early days because your knowledge is very little. But the question is, what are you doing to improve that knowledge? At least you can follow my advice in the class. You can spend more time reading the same text that I teach you. Remember which bird was that? The bird who swam 5,000 kilometers to come to see its savior? Penguin. The penguin text.
Penguin.
How many of you read that text again 3-4 times after I finished that text? How many of you did that? How many of you read that James Bond text again? Because you think it's over. Beta, there is a lot that you can still learn from that text. I'm telling you. But please go, and it's like a cow that is going to give milk. You're looking for milk, but you're ignoring that cow, which is going to give you so much milk there. There's plenty of milk left in that cow, but you're not milking it properly. And you're complaining that you want more milk, you want more milk. You are complaining about lack of resources and all. You have resources right there. You have not optimally, taken advantage of the sources. You have not really taken all that your sources can offer. All these texts that I'm talking about, these texts, if you read again and again, 5-6 times, okay, you're going to learn so many things that are not in your mind right now. And they will pop up in your mind because of that reading. New things, new sentences, new formations will pop up in your mind just because of reading 5-6 times. Try that. I challenge you. And you will come to me and say, thank you, I did that and it benefited me so much. This is the only thing that is keeping you behind. And trust me, not only people here, a lot of students who are struggling fail to realize this one point, that when they're reading, they need to observe what words are coming together. Is there a rule why these words are coming together? Has your teacher taught you something? Can you recall those rules when you see the examples? In maths class, it happens a lot of times. The teacher teaches a plus b whole square is this. And then when they see an example, they say, do you see which formula is being followed here? Some students can see, yes, that formula is being followed here. And many students can't. They remember the formula, but they can't see its application in the exam, in the question. So the same thing happens with English. You guys learn the concepts, maybe parrot the concept, maybe, and fail to see its implementation in the text or in the audio. That yeah, the same rule. Yeah, you know what? I hate to mention this here, but this was so shocking for me. I won't mention the name. A lady in one of my classes, she did the elementary course twice. How many times? Twice. And it is the end of the course, unit 12. And there was a sentence. How long does it take, or how long does it take? She's asking me now, whether it is take or takes. How long does it take or take? She's asking me now. Think of the frustration I felt in that moment. 2 times the elementary course, 6 months, 8 months, 8 months, twice. And she's asking, and she's saying, I'm a little confused. I said, wow, just so easy for you to say you're a little confused. How long does it take? How long does it take? She couldn't decide on her own confidently that it should be take, because we have does here. How many times do I teach these things in the elementary? Unit 3, unit 2, all the time. When we come to unit 7, 6, we see the same thing being followed in the past tense. And she has done the course twice, and this is her observational skill. Tell me, how do I feel about it? It means she has not been listening to me very carefully. How long does it take? How long does it take? Tell me, how do I feel in that moment? Like, somebody has poured cold water on all my expectations. I was thinking that that lady must have gone far because I gave her the second chance to study the same thing. And here she's asking me, unit 12, how long does it take or takes? Think of my frustration. So guys, observation is everything. What you call learning is observation actually. You observe, that is called learning. I tell you something that's not learning, okay? You will be burdened to remember what I tell you. But when you observe, you don't need to remember that because you have observed it. When you observe something, it stays with you. When you listen to something from me, you have to keep it with you, memorizing it. So even if you hear it from me, something, for example, some concepts I'm teaching, and I'm going to teach you the present perfect in the next unit. If I teach you this present perfect, I don't want you to just remember what I'm saying. I want you to see that being implemented. Connect with it. Yeah, it's happening. Then you remember. Otherwise, you just remember my words. It becomes burdensome. To remember somebody's words become burdensome. But when you see those things happening, then it's easy. The whole idea is very simple. Please appreciate the importance of input. Input comes from two methods, reading and listening. Just spend all your energy on 2 things, reading and listening. While you're reading, while you're listening, try to remember the things your teacher teaches you in the class. That yes, he has taught me this. Yeah, this is being followed here. Yes, he has taught me this. This is being followed here. That's all you need to do. And you guys will grow at a speed that you haven't even imagined. If you do this, tell me if this is what you guys do, what I just said. Read and listen. And while you're reading, while you're listening, all you do is try to recall what I have taught is there. Can you see what I have taught in the class, in that text, in that audio, the rules, in terms of vocabulary, all those things, if they are there? If yes, great. If you can't see anything, it means that what you learned in the class was not successful. If I teach you what the oranges look like, what apples look like, and in a heap of fruit, okay, I put 10 oranges and 10 apples, and you fail to spot them, it means you don't remember what oranges look like, what apples look like. So if I have taught you this a concept, and then you're listening to an audio file or reading a text in which that concept is at use, okay, in use, then you should be able to see that yeah, here what sir taught is here. And if you can't, it means you didn't learn. Do you study this way? Do you study this way? I'm asking you, do you study this way? My guess is no. Nobody studies this way. That's why they learn very slowly. Observation is very slow. Start working on that. And when will you observe? When you're reading and when you're listening, not when you're speaking. When you're talking, somebody else is speaking, that time you can keep your observation hat on and learn. But when you are speaking, right now I'm speaking, I'm not learning anything right now. Okay, whatever I'm saying, it's not because of my speaking, it's because of my listening. The way I'm speaking right now, if anybody finds this speaking style impressive, or like they admire it and they want to speak this way, it's not because I have been speaking so I speak this way. Stupid analysis. I have listened to so much that I know when I'm listening to these two people in the interview, I feel like I'm listening to my mother tongue. How come? Because of constant listening, a lot of listening. Initially, when I started, did it sound like my mother tongue to me? Of course not. But now it sounds like my mother tongue to me. When I listen to these things, it doesn't feel like I'm making an effort to, it's a new language or anything. So that happens, that comfort zone comes because of a lot of input. And you guys are hell bent on not listening. I don't understand why. जब कोई ऑब्वियस बात, लॉजिकल बात समझ में ना आए लोगों को, तो मुझे बहुत अजीब लगता है कि जो तुम्हें समझ नहीं आ रहा, तुम्हें करने वाले क्या हो, जिसमें खुद का ऑब्जर्वेशन नहीं है. So I'm not asking you to feel guilty or anything. I'm asking you just to think logically. क्या इससे फायदा होगा? मतलब ये ऑडियो फाइल वाला नहीं, सुनना in principle. I'm not talking about this particular audio file. I'm playing it here right now just to show you that there are so many things that if you keep listening, these things will come across. You will come across these phrases. You will get to hear these phrases. यही है मेरा पॉइंट. आप समझ रहे हो? ये नहीं किया वाला ऑडियो फाइल सुनना है, बेवकूफी नहीं समझ जाइएगा, यहीं पर गलत हो जाएगा, है ना? आप कीप लिसनिंग to the audio files I have given you, the elementary, the pre-intermediate course audio files, the book, text. Once you're done with these things, that I have totally consumed everything sir has given me. Now it is time for you to move on to higher level of things. Go on YouTube. Ask me, I will recommend podcasts or apps which will give you a lot of exposure in English. But when you have not done these things, it's like, if you like, giving finishing touch before you move on to another thing. If you want to learn something completely, this should be your approach. You will make less mistakes.
Saying he's done that.
Process.
Are you saying
well,
that
I'm
Imran
not
Khan has done that?
suggesting that he has done it. That has to be decided by the courts. And that's what courts are doing. We should allow here the courts to do their job. Either me or anyone else commenting or premature comments on the eventuality what happens to Mr. Imran Khan, I think so would be preemptive.
All right, let me just ask you about Nawaz Sharif, because as I said, he was disqualified in 2017 from holding office for life for corruption, given a 7-year jail sentence that was suspended on medical grounds.
I bet you did not hear the word preemptive. Anybody heard the word preemptive? Did you hear the word preemptive? Anybody? No. So that's what happens. I can relate to your problem. When I listen to Italian, I don't catch words, but you have to at least give me their benefit of doubt that Italian words, I'm being exposed to them for the first time in my life now. You have grown up listening to English words, right? You have seen them, you know them. Maybe the accent can be a problem, maybe the speaker can be an issue, okay? But if you keep listening, okay, then new words, preemptive, it doesn't have constant clusters that will confuse you. No, it's just that you haven't ever heard the word preemptive. That's why you did not understand that. And those who have, they will catch it. So those who have very little exposure, they will not have heard a lot of words that this audio will play. And some of you guys will know a lot of words that they are saying because of, again, what? Exposure. So increase your exposure in English. Don't waste your time talking to people in English. Okay? If you want to improve your speaking skills, it will take a few years, but you will speak like you have never thought if you do the right thing. That is, increase your exposure in English. This is one of the reasons why I don't teach the spoken English on YouTube, because most people on YouTube do not come to learn English. They come just for something in that moment. And language speaking, it is like, long work. It is like something that you have to do for a long time. Like, somebody built Burj Khalifa, planning, right? Execution. It took 6 years, 6 years to build a building, because you are building something big. Otherwise, one can finish a building in 10 days as well, 5 days as well. So the more, higher things or better things you want, the longer you need to invest in it, of course. Everybody talks about speaking all the time. And it occupies your mind so much that you guys can't see the obvious. Fine. This audio, by the way, I can share the link with you guys, has so many things that you will listen to and you will say, there are words, especially this Prime Minister, when he speaks, he uses so many words that you guys are familiar with, but he uses them in a nice way, in a way that you have not used before.
Could he be arrested if and when he returns to Pakistan in October?
Well, that's again a question to be deliberated by the law enforcement agencies, that is the local police authorities, that is what sort of judicial remedies he has at his hand, whether he gets protective bail or not. So these are all speculative situations.
But he could be arrested as soon as he lands.
I don't know. He could be set free. Either way. So this is not something about which I am certain what's going to happen.
But it means, Mr. Kakkar, that you are presiding over very turbulent times in Pakistan. We've seen the protests on the street.
I can't tell you how hard it was for me to understand preside over. I just couldn't make, there are some words. Actually, आदत है क्या बच्चों हम लोगों को ना? What we are used to is, there is an English word, it should be translated into some Hindi that is used in the same way. For example, if Prime Minister presides over, okay, तो इसका हिंदी ऐसा होना चाहिए कि Prime Minister कुछ करता है, क्योंकि वर्ब बोल रहे हैं ना, जैसे Prime Minister eats, तो Prime Minister खाते हैं, Prime Minister runs, तो दौड़ते हैं, तो Prime Minister presides over, तो Prime Minister कुछ करते हैं, लेकिन कभी कभी ऐसी हिंदी नहीं हो पाएगी, वहां पर बड़ी परेशानी होती है. So preside over is such a phrase that I couldn't understand for a long time. If somebody presides over a certain incident, it means when that incident takes place, he was in authority. Usually the Prime Minister, the King, or the President, people use such phrases, okay? For example, if a corruption case took place at university, and at the time when the corruption took place, there was a vice chancellor, then we will say that vice chancellor presided over that corruption. It means he was there when this corruption took place. It happened during his time. अब हिंदी कैसे करे इस बात का? Presided over this corruption case.
Streets when Imran Khan was arrested on these corruption charges that he denies and says are trumped up. They sparked nationwide protests. We saw 1,400 arrests. There were deaths also. This means that there's a great deal of instability in the country. Nawaz Sharif, again, very popular. Suppose he is arrested when he arrives, as you've said, is a possibility. That could also spark outrage. Are you not really worried?
I think so. We are learning in Pakistan.
Spark outrage. Spark भी सुने होंगे आप. Outrage भी शायद सुने होंगे. लेकिन दोनों के साथ में spark outrage ये कब आपके मुंह से निकलेगा? जब आप इसको सुने होंगे. तो अच्छी इंग्लिश बोलने के लिए अच्छी इंग्लिश सुनी होनी बहुत जरूरी है. आप चाहते हो कि आप पॉलिटिकल सब्जेक्ट पर डिस्कस कर सको, यू वांट टू डिस्कस इकोनॉमिक सब्जेक्ट्स, they all require wide range of vocabulary. You can talk about your papa, uncle, mosa, mosi with simple English, but when you want to discuss something that it requires intellectual ability and intellectual, maturity, then vocabulary needs to also match that kind of intellect. So you need to have all that vocabulary.
That political process has a part and
Spark outrage means to make people angry. If an incident sparks outrage, it means it makes people, all people angry. People start protesting. Spark outrage.
aspect.
फिर इसमें ऐसा दिखेगा नहीं. Outrage मतलब होता है गुस्सा. Spark गुस्सा को चिंगारी दिखा देना. तो अब वहां से पहुंच जाइए वहां तक, maybe
agitation. And agitations are usually translated in a manner which should be acceptable to the democratic norms. And if they defy those norms, the laws are there to curb and control and limit that kind of
But
behavior.
I asked you if you are worried, as caretaker Prime Minister of Pakistan, that political violence could be ignited
Caretaker Prime Minister. काम चला हुआ है. He is caretaker Prime Minister.
in the country for the reasons I've outlined.
I do not foresee such a behavior. Rather, I see now the people are rallying people in the support for the political and electoral process. They would be more interested to participate in the forthcoming elections and get their returned candidatures to the parliament rather than going on the agitative politics.
All right. So Imran Khan, before he was arrested in August, told this program Hard Talk that he
ओवरऑल मुझे बताओ, ओवरऑल तुम लोग कितना समझ में आया? बताओ. वर्ड समझ में आ रहे? बात समझ में नहीं आती ना? Okay. Two reasons for some people here in the class that audio is not clear. My online students, can you please tell me? ओवरऑल मैटर डिस्कस जो हुआ है वो बता सकते हैं? क्या क्या डिस्कस हुआ, क्या क्या बातों पे, मुद्दे पे बात निकाला गया? नहीं निकाल पाएंगे ना? आप मुझे बताइए तो, क्या बोलते बोलते ऐसा आपका इंग्लिश है कि आपको समझ में आने लग जाएगा? बताइएगा जरा. कितना बहस करिएगा, 10 घंटा 2 घंटा 10 साल लोगों से बहस करिए कि ये इंग्लिश समझ में आने लग जाएगी आपको? आप नहीं चाहते? आपका ये समझ में आने बगैर ऐसा सब बोल लेंगे, इसको समझना नहीं लेकिन ऐसा सब बोल लेंगे. तो ग्रो करने के लिए अपनी समझ बढ़ाई जाती है कि बोलना बढ़ाया जाता है? समझ से ही ना बोलना निकलता है. बच्चा पहले समझता है कि बोलता है. फिर आप लोग क्यों करते हैं ऐसी बातें? क्योंकि सारी दुनिया कर रही है. उसमें से ज्यादातर लोगों को पैसा कमाना है इसलिए वो कर रहे हैं, ऐसा बोल रहे हैं ताकि उनका पैसा. एक आती है लड़की एडवर्टीजमेंट में, शी स्टार्ट्स टू से, you want to speak fluent English, then speak every day. But with whom? Here is an app now where you will find speakers. लो ऐप को प्रमोट करिए कि यहाँ जाके बात करो. यह है क्या रही है? If you want to speak English fluently, speak English every day. पहली लाइन में बकवास कि तुमको फ्लुएंट बोलना है तो रोज बात करो इंग्लिश में. अरे वो आउट ऑफ प्रैक्टिस होना इज अनदर थिंग. मैंने कहा ना 10% ऑफ योर टाइम, टोटल टाइम दैट यू स्पेंड इज मोर देन इनफ फॉर योर स्पीकिंग प्रैक्टिस. जो आप लोग का स्पीकिंग प्रैक्टिस का जो रोल है वो 10% टाइम. यू स्पेंड 1 आवर लर्निंग इंग्लिश, 6 मिनट दे दो स्पीकिंग के लिए, दैट्स इनफ. 6 मिनट में तुम्हारी प्रैक्टिस हो जाएगी. तुम ये भी जान लो दोस्तों कि तुम इंग्लैंड जाओगे रहने के लिए, तुम्हारी इंग्लिश बहुत अच्छी हो जाएगी. इसलिए नहीं कि तुम इंग्लिश बोलोगे, हाँ, तुमको इतना सुनने का मौका मिलेगा. एंड व्हेन यू स्पीक, यू विल स्पीक फॉल्टी इंग्लिश एट फर्स्ट, बट योर लिसनिंग विल हेल्प यू ग्रो. बार बार सुनोगे फिर गलत को सही करते जाओगे, गलत को सही करते जाओगे. शुरुआत में जैसे थे इसी बोलोगे ना वहां पे, बट व्हेन यू कीप लिसनिंग, दैट गाइड्स योर स्पीकिंग ना. अभी भी नहीं समझ आया कि listening guides our speaking? If we are making mistakes while we are speaking, we don't need to speak more. We need to listen more to correct those mistakes. If somebody speaks English and they falter, they make a lot of mistakes, then of course the general perception is you guys need to speak more so that you can stop making those mistakes. Absolute, stupidity. You need to listen more so that those ideas are so clear in your head that your mind can guide your tongue to say the right thing. Speaking is not going to guide your tongue to say the right thing. वो जो है वही निकलता रहेगा, ऊपर नीचे तो ऊपर नीचे निकलता रहेगा. खराब गाने वाला जिंदगी भर गाएगा, खराब ही गा रहा है. ठीक है सर, गाने से उसका अच्छा नहीं हो जाएगा. बोले रियाज जरूरी है, तो रियाज करते समय क्या करना पड़ता है? उसको साधना होता है कि उसका सा, हारमोनियम का इसका भी सा निकले, इसकी आवाज से भी सा निकले. ठीक है, इससे बेहतर होता है. ऐसे भी गाना और लर्निंग अ लैंग्वेज आर 2 डिफरेंट थिंग्स. आई होप दैट टाइम वाज नॉट वेस्टेड. आप लोग कुछ एहसास किए होंगे कि क्या करेंगे तो आप ये समझ पाएंगे. आई एम गोना शेयर दिस लिंक विद यू. सुन लेना एक बार और देखना कि कितना पल्ले पड़ा तुम्हारे, और पूरे अच्छे समझने के लिए कितने घंटे बोलोगे रोज, तो ये समझ में आने लग जाएगा. ये भी जरा बता देना मुझे. एक समय होता था हम लोग को कुछ भी इंग्लिश नहीं समझ में आती थी जब हम लोग छोटे थे. थोड़ी इंग्लिश समझ में आई, फिर थोड़ी और समझ में आई, बोलने से बेहतर होते चले गए, और आज जहां पहुंचे बोलने से पहुंच गए हम लोग। बस इसलिए कि बीच में कुछ बोलना भी हुआ है, उसमें मजा आता है, तो उसी वो बोल रहे हैं कि बोलने से हम यहाँ पहुंच गए। बेवकूफी है ये, इससे बड़ा जाहिलियत वाली बात नहीं हो सकती। सिर्फ 5 से 10% समय दीजिए अपने पूरे लर्निंग का स्पीकिंग सेक्शन को, बाकी डोंट वरी अबाउट इट। So I'm wrapping up now, and let's see when I post this video, do I get any copyright claim or a strike? I don't think I will get a strike, but copyright claim might come to mute this certain part. Otherwise, the video will be blocked, something like that. तो आप सब लोग अपने बोलने को कट कर लीजिए, ठीक है, और सुनने का टाइम बढ़ा लीजिए, और बिल्कुल उन सब चक्रों से निकल जाइए कि हम बेहतर बोलेंगे, हम बेहतर बोलेंगे। बेहतर सीखिए, बेहतर बोलना नेचुरल रिजल्ट है उसका। डू यू एग्री?
Yes, sir.
You agreed
Yes,
that
sir.
as well, Rakhi. I think you understood that it works that way. Other people, please, what do you have to say on that?
Yes, sir.
sir. I'm
Yes,
agree
sir.
with you.
Listening will help you become more clear about which word, which form should come out of your mouth. Because when you're listening,
Yeah, I
the
agree
right
with
words
you.
come out. You keep hearing the same things. Those things will start to impact, influence your speaking. Do your best. I'll see you all tomorrow. And please don't compete with each other in terms of speaking. Compete in terms of who listens more, who observes more, who understands more. That should be your competition. Your speaking will take care of itself. You will never have to worry about your speaking. Okay, bye-bye everyone. Take care.
Bye, sir. Take care.
Yes, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye. 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 Bye.